Hi, my name is Jack Stager from Period 2, and today we're going to be talking about Unit 13, and that would be basic stats. So in order to start the basic stats, we need to understand the symbols from a calculation when we calculate one bar stats. So this right here, which is x with the bar over it, is the mean of the function, so that would be the average. This is followed by another one that you're going to need to know, which is sample standard deviation. So that's when you're giving a sample of something and you have to find the standard deviation. This is the population standard deviation. And now we're going to go into the 5-number summary. So with the 5-number summary, what you're looking at is the 5-number summary. Nope, that's not going to work. Okay, so the 5-number summary is the minimum with x, which is the minimum number. This is followed by Q1, quartile 1, followed by the median, which is when you would put every number within the sequence in order, and then whichever one is in the direct center, followed by quartile 3, and then followed by the maximum, which would be 120. So now that we understand these, we're going to go through and we're going to do a couple problems with it. So the first one we're going to do is we're going to take this and we're going to take this and we're going to input it into the calculator. So you're going to go stat and edit. You're going to then input the measure of the weight into L1, which would be 56, 75, 82, 100, 110, and out. I have to fix that, so we'll do 110, and then 120. So then we're going to go over to L2. We're going to input the frequency. So that would be how many times each number appears within doing the test. Okay, so now we have our numbers inputted from the chart into our calculator. And then we're going to do a stat calc 1-bar stats. Now we're going to do a frequency of L2 because our L2 shows how many times each of the numbers from L1 show up. So now you're just going to hit calculate, and you have your numbers right here. So now we can take these and input them into. Okay, so we're going to take this, and our mean would be 90, and then put these in print. Our sample standard deviation, which is going to be the one with the S in front of it, is going to be 19 point, and we look in the directions and it says nearest hundredth, so that's 3 places. So it's going to be 2, 4, 7 because we're rounding up because the last digit or the following digit would be 9, so we have to round that up. For our population standard deviation, that is going to be 18. This is going to work for me. 18.259 because 2 is the next digit, so it wouldn't round up. So now we're going to take this from the calculator and we're going to bring it over and we're going to show you the 5-number summary with just drawing the arrows to where each one would go on this. Now this 5-number summary is going to be helpful as we continue within this problem. So, in 1 second, as soon as this goes for me. Okay, so our first value within it is going to be our minimum. So that's going to be the lowest number as we talked about. This is going to be followed by quartile 1. Followed by the median. So as we went over, you would line them all up in order of value and then cross it out on each end to get the median. So it's the one dead center. 100 is our third quartile, and this is finally followed by a maximum of 120. So our mode, which would be the number that comes up the most, is 100. And the reason we can say this is because when you look at the chart, so just move this, move this out of the way. When we look at the chart, this is not going to work for me. Okay, we could go into the stat edit so we can look at the chart. When we look at the chart, the only one with 3 as the frequency is 100. So it's the one that's going to have the most. So down here, down below, where it says mode, we're going to put in 100. So the mode is 100. Then our interquartile range is going to be 35. The range, so that is going to be the largest number subtracted from the smallest number, and that's basically the difference, is going to be 64. So we'll put that right here where they ask for it. And it says within one sample standard deviation, how many pieces of data are within that. So when we come over here, we know that one sample standard deviation, as we looked up, was 19.247. So the dead center of this, the mean is 90, correct? So what we're doing is we're going to go how many fit within one sample. So we're going to subtract 19.25. So we'll go to the main page. So we're going to do 90, which is the dead center, minus 19.25, and we find out that 70.5 is the within one standard deviation. So now when we look at our frequency table, the number that fit within within that is 90, so that's 1, 2, so that's 4 right there, and then we're going to add 90 plus 19.25, and we find out that that brings us to 109.25, so that's another 3, 4 added on to that. 4 plus 4, so we have 8 within one sample standard deviation. Okay, so now we're going to find out what the percentage of the standard deviation is within that. So how many of these, every single one of these added together gets you 100%. So whichever ones we have within those 8 pieces, so that's, and how many pieces of data do they give us? So that's 4, 5, 6, 7, 4 plus 3 is 7, or 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And so 8 out of 10, and that's going to give you 80%. So that is all for this video. I hope you've enjoyed and now have a better understanding of basic stats.